Okay, let's get this party started. Boom. Okay, thanks for coming tonight, y'all. I know that Sunday nights can be crazy busy, especially getting ready for the week. Tomorrow's Hank's first day of school at his new little pre-K. So we definitely I was like, okay, chop, 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 gotta go to bed. I got things to do. So I feel y'all. But thanks for being here tonight and prioritizing it. I got a lot of really good information for y'all, and I know it's going to help you moving forward. So we're going to kind of talk about just some foundational stuff. Some of it, some of it might just be a good reminder. But we're also going to really talk about how to go gold, and just simple things you can do to get there. Okay, so first off, I want to talk about this because truthfully, one of the biggest things that's going to stop you from getting beyond silver and senior silver is the lies that you tell yourself and what's in your head. And so there are typically kind of some common fears at this level that we tell ourselves, and we just it kind of becomes that broken record, and it's up to us to be able to kind of break out of that and move beyond it. And so I would love if any of y'all would unmute and maybe share something that's been a thought in your head as you've been we'll say this August. Has there been anything that kind of has been negative talk in your head that hasn't maybe been the best thing for you this month? Would anyone like to just share a quick little blurb on that?
I think I'm a daily negative self-talker in terms of Plexus business.
Yeah. Okay. So give me an example. What's something that you've told yourself in the last week?
I'd say how on earth am I going to get people to sign up and to believe me? I think it's that the back and forth, starting lots of conversations and then them petering out or something happening and then being people just kind of flaking. So I think for me, it's kind of oh, what am I saying something wrong? Is it something I'm doing, or is it purely on their part?
Yeah. Kind of wondering, should I be doing something different? Is this right? Why isn't it going anywhere? Totally can relate to that. Anybody else? I know one of mine early on was just a lot of just everyone's going to think it's too expensive. Everyone's just going to be it's too expensive. And so I felt early on I was reaching out to people and just automatically kind of feeling defeated before they would do it. Oh, Maureen, she says, I'm in a hotel with the kids. Okay. People won't buy or people aren't interested. Yes. Kayla's getting her baby to bed, and she said people being interested and then ghosting her, or that it's too expensive. Yes. But what is the cost? Yes. Okay, y'all. Yes. Okay. This is super common. Everything everyone has said is so common. So I compiled a list, and I want to see if any of these just kind of resonate with y'all. I don't know enough people. Okay. You can throw a 1 in the chat if that's something that you've thought. No one wants to buy. We've already covered that. It's too expensive. We've already talked about that. For some people, they don't feel like they know enough about the products. And so they feel well, I know maybe about the products I'm taking, but I don't know enough about the other products and maybe what I would recommend or what would be best for this person. And then for some people, I'm not good at social media, or I am not used to being on social media as much. And then that, or just kind of freezing anytime you're going to post something on social media because you just aren't sure what you think about it. And so what I want y'all to know is that all of you are incredibly intelligent, and I think the best word is self-reflective people. Every single one of you, I've noticed just from our friendships and just getting to know y'all well way beyond Plexus, is that none of y'all are just going to give up in life in general just because something's challenging or difficult. And I think all of you care about learning how to get better at any mental battle, like in life. Like all of you are always willing to be like, okay, I know I can do this. I know I can get over it, but just how? And so here are some ideas if these are some fears that are in your head. So instead of kind of being that fear-based mindset, or next time you're in this place, I want y'all to shift to this growth mindset and think maybe in this way, or this is an action item that you can do. So you saying, I don't know enough people. Well, I have a really cool little sheet I'm going to share with you, and it's called the leads you didn't know that you had. And so I'm going to text this to our group real quick. And this is just an idea, right? Like this is just a way to be like, okay, wouldn't have thought of that, or wouldn't have thought of that category of people. And it's maybe a tool that you can use to spark some ideas. I think the other thing is that don't forget too that this is something that's for the long haul and the long game. And so as you are starting new jobs, or as you are becoming a part of new moms groups, or your kid is starting at a different school, I'm like excited to just get to know more people and put myself out there. And like, I don't know if they're going to do Plexus with me or not, but I'm like excited for that community. Every single person here too is good at talking to people and is good at that relationship aspect. And so don't sell yourself short. You know more people than you think you do, and rely on that relationship piece that you're good at. And then see if Plexus is something they might be interested in. The next one, no one wants to buy, okay, or no one's interested. Well, again, how can you connect more? Sometimes people aren't interested, they don't want to buy because you haven't figured out how to solve a problem for them yet. And so it's about getting to know them more and figuring out what are some of these issues or problems that they have, and how can you solve that problem for them. And some of it may be based on like, not trust in you as a human. They're probably like, oh, I love her, she's so great. But trust in knowing that you could solve a problem for them. And so maybe it's about you solving a problem for them in some other aspect of their life, and sharing a recipe that has helped them, or sharing a mom hack. And then they're like, you know what? This girl has something to say. I'm going to like, my ears are going to perk up, and I'm going to really listen to what she has to say about this Plexus stuff. For people who are like they immediately say it's too expensive. Usually for those people, it's really just about building belief. It's about building belief in the products, sharing more testimonies. We're going to talk a little bit more about how to build belief in a second. But I've just noticed that with most people who say it's too expensive, we just on our end haven't done enough work to build that belief for them, because we haven't shown them the value of these products. Because truthfully, like if someone were to come at me and be like, okay, this coat is like $400. I'm like, $400? I'm not spending that on a coat. But if they're like, but we know how cold you get in the winter, Brittany and Sarah. And we know that if it is made of this beautiful goose down feather that literally will keep you warm and toasty in negative 20 degrees, and you get your money back, if not, then would you buy it? And I'd be like, you know what? I do get really, really cold when I go to Colorado. Like maybe this would be worth it for me. And so if they hadn't have built that value with me, or they wouldn't have put in that effort to really get to know me and that I get really cold, then I would be like, there's no way, like pass, price tag, pass. So it really is about like creating that belief in them and creating that value for them. And we've all individually had that conversation of not talking price right up front, and building that belief. But then eventually I am a believer of telling people what the price is. And then they might say no because of price. But you know what? They didn't say no because they're not interested. They didn't say no because they hate the ingredients. They said no because of price. And we have things we can do for that. Okay. And it may just be another conversation later on. None of y'all mentioned this one, but I don't know enough about the products. So many things we can do for this, whether it's watching trainings or using me. I'm not even kidding you. When I started Plexus, like I think I literally texted Callie every single day. And I was like, okay, this girl just sent me the symptoms chart. And she would always be like, well, what are you thinking? What do you think? And I would be like, and I would just like throw something out, and she would be like, that's a really good idea, but I'm thinking a little more along these lines. And then I would just ask her why. Ruby's favorite question right now is why? Why? Just ask why. If the thread tells you a suggestion on products and you're not sure where they got that from, ask them why. If you don't know enough about a product or why it helps with something, there's so many trainings on it, or go to Gut Health and Happiness and search your little heart out on that product. I know a lot of y'all are semi like research nerds, buffs. And so just go to town whenever you have a spare minute, like let yourself go down those internet rabbit holes. Maybe it's just me, but I think it's kind of fun. So don't be afraid to ask questions for that, for sure. You don't have to be the expert early on. That is why we use things like 3-ways in our threads to ask all the questions. For some people, it's about social media, whether you think you're not good, or it's about like how to like integrate it into your lifestyle that feels good to you, feels authentic, feels like something you can handle, is maybe a good word, because some people are like, it's just too much. Just be willing to learn. I would say just be coachable. Watch people who are good at it, learn from them, and then implement it. And it doesn't have to be all at once. You don't have to go from being like a once a week poster to 2 times a day. But I think things like showing up in your stories and being able to put a Plexus post out 1 to 2 times a week. If you want to get to gold and if you want to have these bigger goals, you have to talk about it on your social media. It is so powerful to speak to people in person. And Christy, you are amazing at that. And do not take that lightly. Like that's a huge skill, and keep doing that. But you know what those people do is after you talk in person, people stalk y'all on the internet, and they go look at Facebooks and they go look at Instagrams, and they want to like see. And if it's not something that you are talking about every now and then, they're going to be like, well, why isn't she sharing about that? Why isn't that a part of her like Facebook life? She puts other things on there. She talks about other things she likes. Like, why is she not talking about this Plexus stuff? Is it weird? Should I go Google it? Should I go see what they're doing in Plexus? Like, and then we're like, no. So I just think that it's a way to just like build credibility, and you can do it in your own way. Like, y'all don't have to post like me. I don't post like Callie. Jordan's great, but like some of the stuff she posts like isn't my style either. And so it is kind of about finding people that kind of jive with your personality, and just like learning from them. So it's not something you can't get better at. That's the moral of the story in terms of social media goes. Okay, so we kind of talked about building belief. This, I would say, is one of the biggest things you have to do between that initial reach out and those follow-ups. You have to be willing to share testimonies, to share videos, to share your personal stories. You have to be willing to invite people to events. Some of y'all have been sending samples to people. Like, y'all are doing amazing. And all of those little things add up, and they build belief in people. There's some stat in like sales in general where it talks about like people like won't say yes or whatever. It takes like a minimum of like 8 contacts or something for people to say yes. I'm going to look it up for y'all later, but it kind of blew my mind, but it made me feel better. I was like, okay, I'm not crazy when people don't say yes to me the first like interaction. This is a normal thing, right? And like Chrissy, we've even seen like we are talking to some of the same people individually, and they're still like, I don't know, and it's like, we didn't even know that the other person had talked to them. But the fact that like we both believe in the products and are sharing little nuggets of that completely separately from each other, that person's like, their wheels are turning. And so ways that you can build belief in people is like helping add value to their lives in other ways besides Plexus. So kind of like we were saying earlier, like on your, whether it's on your social media or just life in general, like, whenever you've talked to someone about Plexus and they see you in person and then they're like, it's like they run away from you. I know, Christy, you've had that happen, but I don't know if any of y'all else have seen it. But have you, Sarah?
I don't like, I stayed with my best friend for like 4 days and we didn't talk about it at all. And she's one of my people I'm trying to get on because it's like, it's one of those things I was just like, it's like we
I
text
know.
when we're not together, but
I
we
know.
didn't talk about it when we were physically together.
And it's hard. And you're like, I would rather text you and like feel safe behind a screen. Because it is hard knowing that their answer could be no, and that you have to like deal with that in person, right? But like I find it so funny that when people tell you no, like on a screen, and then you see them in person, and it's like they think you're gonna be like, so like my favorite thing to do with those people is just go be like, my favorite thing to do with those people is just go up to them and be like, hey, I know we talked about Plexus and you're not interested, but also I'm still the same person. I just like directly hit it on. And then like contact them about other things besides Plexus. And so maybe it's you interacting on their Instagram, nothing to do with Plexus, no motives. You're just like, oh, that was a cute picture, or like, oh, that was funny, or hey girl, you're looking cute today, but adding value to them and letting them know like we're cool. Okay. The other thing is just y'all don't have any problems with this, like sending genuine and authentic messages. You can totally use like skeletons of other messages, but then just tweak them and make them your own. Or if someone pops in your head, my favorite thing to do, if they pop in my head, I'm like, I'm just gonna message them right now. Tell them that they popped into my head and tell them why, like whether it was something that reminded me of them or whatever. And then like maybe it is about Plexus, but that's like a genuine, authentic way to reach out to people. We already kind of talked about being a problem solver. I know that each of us have other professions and things that we are good at. And what I think is so cool is sometimes we can use those other knowledge and skills that we have to become a problem solver for a person, again, completely outside of Plexus, and it builds belief in you as being someone that can offer solutions. So then when they start seeing your Plexus post, or whenever they do post something about being really tired and having no energy, and you offer up a solution like Plexus, they're going to go, you know what, like I'm going to hear her out, right? A great way to build belief too is to share your story and share it often. I know sometimes we like to check our little boxes when we put something in our story, but I'm guilty of this too, that we have to remember not everyone sees your story, like your stories literally in your Instagram. They don't always see them because we just don't, like algorithm, they didn't get on that day, whatever. So it's important to share it often and like in different ways, whether you do it on your story or you do it in a regular post, and share little nuggets of it. You don't have to write like your whole story every time, but I think I shared with y'all Elise's profile. I love that she just does like little tiny snippets of her story all the time, because you never know when the right person is going to happen on that post. And so if you're constantly like just resharing, it's going to build belief in your overall audience, but also like for those people who really needed to see that particular post. And we already kind of talked about posting consistently, really just being like, so for some people, it's like a to-do list, and you're like, okay, my goal is to post 3 Plexus posts this week, or 2 Plexus posts, and like 3 just Brittany posts, set a reasonable goal for you, but also something that kind of pushes you a little bit out of your comfort zone. I have over here written a Bob Heilig podcast. He has a really, really good podcast. It's called Your Virtual Upline, and he shares a lot on how to build belief, how to also be authentic, how to be a problem solver. They are so, so good. Like you can't go wrong with a podcast that he does. And it's for network marketers. And so he's speaking like directly to us. Okay. Okay. So for some of y'all, it's like, okay, great. I do want to have that goal of maybe posting more or being myself on social media, but like, how do I do it? Or how do I get ideas? One of them is just to follow Plexus people who are good posters. I'll send y'all a list, but I would just encourage y'all, as y'all see people's names in our threads, like go stalk them a little bit. And most people's profiles are public. See what you think. And if something you jive with, follow them. It's not that you have to follow 300 Plexus people. Just find a couple people that you're like, man, every time she posts, it like turns a light bulb on in my head, and just follow those people. Screenshot when they do a really good post and save it to an albums on your phone. I know I've talked to some of y'all about that. It's just the way I stay organized. I just have literally an album in my photos that says Plexus post ideas. I have story ideas in there as well. Y'all know whenever people use certain stories that you totally can steal, like it's like a very like, it's like they made it, but it's generic enough that you could totally screenshot it, crop out their name and just use it. I do that all the time. Like I do that with Jordan's stuff. I do it with Marissa's stuff sometimes. Like I've used Haven's before. If it's kind of like my same style that I typically use, then like there's no shame in that. That's totally fine. And then just use them at a later date. Other ideas, we do have an album on Destination Diamond page that has story inspo. Y'all have already been using that, and like Kayla, you did your ease story the other day, and like that's exactly how you should do it. It's like a screenshot. I have that idea, but then I'm going to use my hand. Sarah, the picture you took the other day, so good. Little things like that. It just like kind of takes a little bit of the thinking out of it, and you can just kind of use other people's creativity for a second when your brain is like a little low or getting close to E, There is a post on Destination Diamond Facebook group called 21 Days of Posting. I know Maureen said she saw that and she's been looking and working on that. I think that's awesome. We also can do a list of ideas on your phone. So if, let's say you're like sitting on the toilet and like a really good idea hits you, write it down, because I promise you'll forget. If you have an idea for a post while you're doing yard work, just pause for 10 seconds, and it doesn't mean you have to post it right then, but just put it down because you will forget it. Like I do it all the time. Because it is good to post like early morning or around like 7 or 8 p.m. at night. And so if it's 3 p.m. and you're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to hit too many people, save it for that night. I'm also a big believer in like, if you're ready to post, just post. So don't pay too much to time frames, but you can kind of see how it plays out on your end. Like, do some of your morning posts get better hits than the evenings or vice versa? What else? There's something in the chat. Let me look real quick. You told me you post a lot. Maureen said, I've seen a few people in person and they told me you post a lot about Plexus, girl. I just own it. I'd be like, I do. I love it so much. Do you have any questions? Like, you're funny. You have like a bubbly personality. Just own it, girl. Just be like, I know. Are you annoyed with me yet? Like, just joke around with them. What else? Oh, content calendars. I'm going to share with y'all for September. This is an idea. It's not something you have to do, but I'm going to share a content calendar with you. And basically what it is for every day of the week, I give an idea of what you can post. And we're talking, it's a mix of real life with Plexus stuff. And so again, it's like you don't have to think as much. Or if you come up with something, an idea, and you see on the calendar that it's 2 weeks from now, save that idea, take your picture, save it. But it just like, it's a way to just kind of practice like getting more things out there, adding value to people. And I find them incredibly helpful, because on days that I'm not feeling like super creative is I guess the best word, if I have a content calendar going, I'm like, okay, perfect. It's telling me exactly what to do. And I can just do that instead. I'm pretty sure at this point, all of y'all are on health, happiness, and financial freedom. A little note on that. That is our like business page for Jordan's whole team. So there's a ton more people on that. There's a ton more posts. And our Destination Diamond Facebook group is just Callie and people below her. So Destination Diamond is smaller. We try to take our absolutely favorite things from health, happiness, and financial freedom and put it onto the Destination Diamond page. But there is several really, really good posts about social media on HHFF. And so it's definitely another really, really good resource for y'all. All right, let me check this really quick and make sure there wasn't anything I was gonna send y'all on that. Are we good? Okay. I think after this, yeah. So do y'all have any questions about social media before we move on to like how to go gold, points, that kind of stuff? Okay. Cool, cool. Y'all are crushing it. Let's go gold. I like have to do PowerPoints, y'all, because I'm like former teacher, and otherwise I don't know how to like keep my train of thoughts like in line. Otherwise I'll just be like talking about random things. Okay. What does it mean to be gold? It means that you have at least 100 points in your virtual office in a 1 month time frame. So for instance, today is the 28th. Whenever your back office starts getting more and more people, everyone's subscriptions will go out by the 28th. So if you sign someone up tomorrow or the 30th or the 31st, their subscription for next month is going to default to the 28th of next month. The reason it does that is so that like us as business builders, we know where our points are and our rank is by the 28th of every month. That way, if we have like, we didn't meet our goal or we have some other work we want to do, we have the 29th, the 30th, and on some of those months, don't ask me which ones, you have the 31st as well. And 3 days in like network marketing is like a year. So don't ever think that 3 days isn't a lot to get a lot of things done. I've seen crazy things happen. So it can be from levels 1 to 5. So all you guys know that like whenever you add someone underneath you, that's your level 1. If anyone on that level adds someone, that's your level 2, and so on. Let's see what the chat says real quick. Okay. Okay, I'm going to send this to y'all. This is our compensation chart / our kind of points sheet. Save this to your phone, put it in your, I have like a files tab or whatever. I look at this all the time, and I'll show you my favorite part of it in just a little bit. Okay, just send that to the group. So we have 10 minutes. Beautiful. In order to go gold, you need the 100 points in your office. That's what this is saying. If you're a silver ambassador, you need to add 3 VIPs. We don't really talk about points as a silver because it's truly 3 VIPs with either a welcome pack or 100 PV in their order. Then when you move on to senior silver, it's 50 points. Okay. Gold is 100 points. This little line item here where it talks about outside leg, you probably aren't going to have to worry about this too much until you get into your higher ranks. But basically, it's kind of a rule that Plexus has so that you can't ride the coattails of like one business builder. So let's say I'm like gold and I sign on someone and they like skyrocket to emerald. Well, instead of me just like quitting my business and just like moving all through the ranks with her, I have to, and if I'm going to rank like emerald, you have to have 375 points on your outside leg. So that is outside of that main leg where you get the most points. So typically whenever you're anywhere from senior silver to usually I'd say senior gold, you're usually wide enough that one business builder, you'll have plenty on your outside leg. And if you're ever getting closer, we're not sure, like that's something we can definitely check. But I remember when I first started, I was like, what's an outside leg? I don't understand. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, we can chat a little bit more about that later. So how do you get those points? Well, whenever someone orders, this is a little screenshot. It's actually in my favorites folder that I save of pictures. This little screenshot, and it is in your compensation plan chart, just to remind me like how many points I'm getting from people depending on their PV order. So some of y'all have been with me long enough that you have brand ambassadors under you that aren't actually business builders. And that's because of how we used to sign up. Some of you only have VIP customers. So if you have VIP customers, you're actually getting points on people as low as 25 PV. If you have VIPs and ambassadors, they have to be, if you have brand ambassadors under you, they have to be at least 50 PV for you to actually start getting points for them. So how this works is whenever someone orders 100 PV from you or a welcome pack, you're getting 6 points for them. And then if they add on their mom and they order 100 PV, you get 5 points from them because they're on your level 2. Now, if you have someone who orders less than 100 PV, maybe in their second month, they went rogue. And even though you told them they need to be consistent with their same products, they just ordered whatever they wanted, and they ordered 80 PV, you're still going to get 4 points for them. What's great about Plexus is that you are going to earn points for people when they do their second and third and fourth and 100th orders from now. It's not just when they sign up. So customer care and retention is really important, because as those people are sticking with you for those 90 days, because you talked to them about that when they signed up, you're like, okay, you got to be consistent with me. 90 days, we're sticking with this pack. We're going to really see what it can do for you. You're going to get 6 points for them every single month. So then as you're adding new people, it's just adding up, adding up, adding up. Okay, cool, Brittany. So 100 points. How do I get there? Well, there's a bunch of different ways. And if you have not watched that call from Emily Roberts about going gold, I'm going to send that to y'all real quick, because she talks about a lot of different ways to do it. And I don't want to spend the whole time going over it, because she does a fabulous job at it. She's also really fun to listen to. I know Maureen watched the video and she's just, I don't know, she's very entertaining to listen to. So it's like a really easy listen. But one way you could do it is if you just signed up 17 level 1s with 100 PV or more, because 17 times 6 is 102. So that is a way to do it. And I know it seems kind of crazy, but all of y'all have had events. And although not all of those people have signed up in this first month, those are people that are going to be watching. And what if those people start trickling in over the next couple months? You keep following up, you keep loving on them, you keep adding value to them. Some of y'all had really big events. And what if like you sign up 15 more people who just happened to come to your event that night weeks ago, right? So don't knock it. It is possible. Or you could have 22 to 25 team orders, meaning you might have a couple level 2s that sign up, because when someone tells you a win, when you're doing customer care and checking in, you just say something as simple as, have you told anyone about that? Or would you be open to making a Facebook post about that if I help you? And I am shocked at how many people say yes, y'all. It's really not as crazy of an ask as you think. And if they say no, no problem, girl. I can't wait to keep checking in on you and seeing how you're doing. You're doing fantastic. Keep it up. Done. We don't get our little panties in a while. We don't get sad. It's nothing personal. They just don't want to post right now. And that's totally fine. You may sign up a level 2 from someone signing up one of their spouses, and especially with reset. So when people come to you and they're wanting to do reset, have you ever thought about getting your hubs to do it with you? It's so great, because then you don't have to cook dinner for 3 nights and it's fabulous. You can just cook the kids chicken nuggets. And so many women are like, heck yes, I want to do that. Right. And so you may sign up spouses, especially with, like I said, reset and like triplex. It's so much easier to do it when spouses do it with you, because then you're just in the same boat together. Right. And then you may have direct business reach outs where you tell someone, maybe you know someone who's like struggling, and maybe you're like, hey, I know this is crazy. I know it's a little bit unconventional, but I've really started loving the Plexus community, and I know what it can do for people who are motivated and excited to learn more and share about these products. And what if they say yes and they want to learn more, and then they start doing their own reach outs, and then they start adding people. So lots of ways to get team orders, and you don't have to just rely on those level 1s. Check out that video. Okay, we've had a couple questions on this as far as like retail versus VIP versus brand ambassador. How's my time doing? Okay, we might get cut off. There are very few reasons to sign someone up as anything but VIP, guys, because people signing up as retail, sometimes they go rogue. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes they go rogue. Sarah, we know about that, and it's fine. We're going to get her next month. But sometimes this is us maybe sending our link too early because they're like, well, I just want to check out the site. I'm your resource. I'm going to add you to gut health and happiness. We're going to talk about all the things. But if we add them or send them our link too fast, they may get click happy. They're going to see prices that aren't actually accurate for what they would order as a VIP customer. And they may sit there and not have that belief built or the value added. And that price sticker may go, I'm not buying that $400 coat, right? So if you ever get in a sticky situation where something like that's happening, just message me and let's figure out like a good combo that we can have with them or a good message we can send them to chat with them about this. I really don't give people options. When people are coming to me to sign up, I'm like, great, you're going to sign up as a VIP, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get you a welcome pack. Because it's our job as brand ambassadors to make sure that they're set up with their products, they're set up with good pricing, and they're set up to be nice and consistent. Okay, I'm going to send one more quick thing. This is super helpful to know what our welcome pack options are. Whenever you're having these conversations, you should already be thinking, what welcome pack would be great? What welcome pack would be great? What welcome pack would be great? But it's hard to think like that if you don't know all the choices, right? So let me send that to you real quick. This is actually an awesome resource because not only does it tell you our welcome pack options, it also tells you what their next month's subscription is going to be after this first welcome pack order. So some people, when you tell them about VIP and they see they're going to have a subscription, they're like, I don't want a subscription. And that's just a conversation you're going to have. Why not? What scares you about that? And sometimes they got butthurt in the past. Sometimes they're just like scared of commitment, but we need to have those honest conversations with them about like, listen, maybe you're not ready to start this. Maybe you're not ready to really give yourself the time and effort you need to get rooted healing. Maybe you're not ready to start Plexus. I want you to start it so bad, but I'm not going to sign you up if you're not ready to be committed to at least 60 days. And when you have those honest conversations with people, they kind of have a reality check and they're like, okay, I can do it. Then when you're taking good care of them as a customer and tell them that I'm going to be your best friend, I'm going to be checking in with you 3